those in attendance. I wish to inform you the meeting is being live streamed and recorded. The video will appear at the Council's website and YouTube channel. The public gallery will not be recorded unless accidentally, and only a participant in the meeting, namely a person asking questions at public question time, will be live streamed and recorded. If you wish to ask a question at public question time, your voice and image will be recorded and live streamed. If you do not consent to your voice and image being recorded and live streamed to the public, then you will need to leave the meeting. By staying at this meeting, you consent to your voice and image being live streamed and recorded. No other electronic, visual or audio recording device or instrument can be used to record the proceedings of the meeting without prior written permission from the Council, as per the City of Belmont Standing Orders Local Law. Before I begin, I'd like to acknowledge the Whadjuk Noongar people as traditional owners of this land, and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. I further acknowledge the cultural heritage, beliefs, connection and relationship with this land which continues today. Councillor Sessions, would you please read aloud the affirmation of civic duty and responsibility on behalf of elected members present?
Thanks, Mayor Rossi. I make this affirmation in good faith and declare that I will duly, faithfully, honestly and with integrity fulfil the duties of my office for all the people in the City of Belmont according to the best of my judgment and ability. I will observe the City's Code of Conduct and standing orders to ensure efficient, effective and orderly decision making within this forum.
Thank you, Councillor Sessions. Apologies. We have apologies from Councillor Aberdeen and Councillor Davis. Leave of absence. I note there are no councillors recorded as having a leave of absence for the meeting. Declarations of interest. Financial interests. Will the Coordinator of Governance please advise of any financial declarations made to date?
Thank you, Mayor Rossi. No declarations have been received.
Thank you. Will the Coordinator of Governance please advise of any disclosures made to date affecting impartiality, please?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Councillor Kuljiski has declared an item in 12.1, Draft Local Planning Policy Number 21, Tree Development Exemption and Assessment, as they are a member of the groups that have provided a submission in the confidential schedule of submissions. However, it is noted that Councillor Kuljiski did not partake in drafting the submission to maintain impartiality. Councillor Sessions has declared an interest in item 12.4, Strategic Community Plan, Corporate Business Plan and Long-Term Financial Plan, as one of the capital projects mentioned through the Strategic Community Plan, Corporate Business Plan and Long-Term Financial Plan is the redevelopment of the facilities at Peak Park, and Councillor Sessions is the club secretary at the Belmont Junior Football Club, who occupy these club rooms 6 months of every year. Councillor Sessions has also declared an interest in item 12.5, adoption of the 2026-27 annual budget. As part of the budget is allocated to Peak Park for revitalisation. Councillor Sessions is the club secretary at the Belmont Junior Football Club and their home ground is Peak Park. Councillor Kuljiski has declared an interest in item 12.5, adoption of the 2026-27 annual budget, as they are a member of the Ruth Faulkner Library. Mayor Rossi has declared an interest in item 12.5, adoption of the 2026-27 annual budget, as they are a patron of the Belmont RSL Club and a member of the library. Councillor Sessions has declared an interest in item 12.8, account for payment May 2026, as payments were made to electrical contractors, professional planners and for floodlighting at Peak Park, which is the home of the Belmont Junior Football Club. There was also a community contribution fund payment to the club of $150. Councillor Sessions is a volunteer committee member at the club. Councillor Sessions has also declared an interest in item 14.4, 10.042026 for Peak Park sports lighting upgrade, as part of the budget is allocated to Peak Park for revitalisation. Councillor Sessions is the club secretary at the Belmont Junior Football Club and their home ground is Peak Park. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you very much. We'll move on to announcements. I have two. Firstly, I'd like to acknowledge the two city projects that were shortlisted in the Parks and Leisure Australia 2026 Awards of Excellence. The Garvey Park Ecological Connectivity Upgrade Project which transformed 1.6 hectares of grassland into a thriving green corridor, and the Brearley Avenue Living Stream project, which has transformed a fenced drainage reserve into a thriving natural landscape. While neither project took out the top award, being shortlisted is a significant achievement and reflects the quality, innovation and impact of the work being delivered across our city. I congratulate everyone involved in these projects. Secondly, on Saturday, more than 260 pioneers gathered at the Glasshouse for the annual Pioneers Luncheon. Their hard work, resilience and commitment helped shape Belmont into the community we know today. The Pioneers Luncheon is an important opportunity to thank them, recognise their contribution and celebrate the stories and community spirit that have helped make Belmont what it is today. It is now 6:36 p.m. I wish to draw attention to the disclaimer notice contained within the attention document and advise members of the public that any decisions made at the meeting tonight can be revoked pursuant to the Local Government Act of 1995. Therefore, members of the public should not rely on any decisions until formal notification in writing from the City has been received. Declarations by members who have not given due consideration to all matters contained in the business papers presently before the meeting. Are there any declarations to be made by councillors? No. Public question time. Response to questions taken on notice. From the ordinary council meeting of the 26th of May 2026 are noted in the agenda for Ms Hollands, Mr Reeves, Mr Reid, Mr Rosalind, Mr Paul Hitt. Questions by members of the public. It is 6:37 p.m. and I open public question time and draw attention of the public gallery to the rules of public question time as written in the question time form. I remind members of the public of the standing orders local law requirements for members of the public to extend due courtesy and respect to both councillors and employees. Please do not use inappropriate, objectionable or untruthful expressions or expressions that reflect adversely on the character or actions of councillors or employees. If any expression is deemed inappropriate, you'll be directed to withdraw the expression and apologise. If you do not comply, I'll have to end your question. Lastly, I remind and caution everyone present at this meeting to refrain from making defamatory statements, especially as proceedings are live streamed. As such, some viewers of the live stream may find the content of the meeting to be offensive or distressing. Under the City's Standing Orders Local Law 2017, members of the public can ask up to 2 questions and have a maximum of 2 minutes per question for the question to be asked and answered. As presiding member tonight, I'll allow up to 4 questions per person. Please note that sub-questions, being questions within questions, will be counted towards the total number of questions permitted. The question number and time limit is to allow fair and equal opportunity for everyone to ask their questions before the proceedings continue. I have 6 members of the public who have given prior notice to ask questions, there being Mr Rosalind, who's submitted his questions, but I believe you have one more to ask, if you wish. Ms Hollands, on behalf of Bragg, Ms Hollands, on behalf of, for herself, from Redcliffe, Debbie Ranson, Martin Cardoso on behalf of Belmont East Ward Connect. Are there anybody else that wish to ask a question? Ms G. We'll go to Mr Rosalind. We'll first go through your questions, sir. No, we're doing the questions you've submitted first. Then you can ask your 4th question. So,
okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So you want me to read the question?
No, you've submitted them. I'm happy to read them, and the CEO will read out the answer. That's why you've submitted it, so we can do it for you. Yep.
Good.
And then
I'm sure he speaks English better than me, so it'll be very good. Thank you.
I'm sure we all do a good job, don't worry. Okay, question 1. I have repeatedly reported unsafe parking at the intersection of Wright Street and Belgravia Street, where vehicles park on the brick-paved verge and obstruct driver and pedestrian visibility. I again observed this yesterday and have provided photos to the City. Can the City please advise what actions has been taken in response to these reports, given the parking does not comply with the road traffic code, and whether the City has a plan or policy to address similar visibility and safety issues at other intersections within the City? The CEO will reply.
Thank you, Worship. The City has reviewed parking at this location and confirmed that vehicles are parked in a compliant manner in that they are parked beyond 10 metres from the junction. However, as you have observed, parking at this location obstructs sight lines and mutual visibility between pedestrians and drivers. Accordingly, the City is considering the installation of bollards at this location as a preventative parking measure. Where traffic intersections safety concerns arise, the City will investigate and address each matter accordingly. Thank you, Worship.
Your second question. Regarding the unused Sydenham Street cul-de-sac and the road reserve in front of 355 Sydenham Street, Belmont, I have previously met with planning officers and provided several written requests about access options, tree removal on the road reserve, verge works, bin collection space, and possible changes to footpath alignment. Can the City please advise what progress has been made on preparing a plan or recommendation for this area, including access options for 355 Sydenham Street? Mr. CEO?
Thank you, Worship. Officers met with Mr. Rosalind to understand the matters relating to 355 Sydenham Street. Following the meeting, officers are currently liaising with relevant internal departments to gather the necessary information. Once this information has been collected, officers will provide a written response to Mr. Rosalind outlining the City's position on the matters raised. Thank you, Worship.
Your third question. Whether councillors are able to discuss this matter and provide direction, and if any recent confidential, closed, council discussions have related to the Sydenham Street, Belmont cul-de-sac or road closure. I think the CEO's answered it, but I'll go back to the CEO.
Thank you, Worship. Mr. Rosalind is encouraged to continue liaising with City officers regarding any site-specific matters or access matters for 355 Sydenham Street. Any confidential council discussions remain confidential, and the City does not have any specific framework for unused road reserves and cul-de-sacs. Thank you, Worship.
You may now ask your fourth question, if you wish.
Thank you, Mayor Rossi. My question is, I just look regarding this matter in practice. I just look at the MetroNet map of the council. All the road intersection and there they are closed. They showing us open, they doesn't showing they are closed. Now I don't know what the policy is, but I have a meeting here, you know well, at the council with some of the planning. And I bring a friend of mine, consulting engineer retired, so and he for me planning, the one that go to school to planning have limited information. They're supposed to be done a study by engineering, not a planning person that doesn't have the qualification. In any case, what the issue is this, where I live and many other, they are blocked the road for many years, probably more than 50 years. The council didn't exactly when it was, but my neighbor passed away now, he was living there, and informed me about it was more than 50 years ago. And being put on big tree, 30 meters, being blocked, so limited access to my property for future developer too. Now, on the still on the map, on the internet map, doesn't look like it's any closer, nothing. My request at the meeting and all the mayors saying the request is a few options. The council can remove as a road and leave the land or sell or whatever they want to do, and or provide, I ask, access for the future development, even for parking at the moment, because of the roundabout, the cul-de-sac is not parking there. I know a lot of parking, all the neighbors that cannot park, they cannot pick up the rubbish bin properly. It's not access for people. And Hardy Road, the same issue, you got an island there, just after the intersection. And yeah, you can be a small island to reduce the traffic, but it doesn't mean to be 20 meters with a tree blocking and removing the parking lot. One requirement for the planning is to provide parking for the resident, and that is lacking. At the same in Rice Street, now I don't know what will happen in Rice Street when you do the upgrade. Bitumen spends $620,000, but any provision for parking, I would like to see a drawing.
And your question is, you would like to see what we're doing for parking? Is that your question?
But it's a parking issue in my place. Also, if the road is closed, you can give away and inform the authority they don't exist anymore road and provide access to the property properly for the future of the development. Okay. And not as way expense of the owner or developer, because the road before was open is still on Metro map.
I have to get clarification for that for you. Director of Infrastructure Services?
There's quite a lot involved in that. I'm just going to have to take that on notice.
Thank you very much. We move to Ms Hollins on behalf of Bragg.
Excuse me, excuse me, Your Worship. Just before President Bragg speaks, I think the city needs to acknowledge and thank Mr Roslin for submitting his questions early on. It gave a very effective answer, streamlined the process, and ensured that he got a response straight away.
I'm sure the officers would have thanked him when they handed it in.
But I think it would be good from you,
but
because
thank
he
you.
modelled good
Thank
behaviour.
you. Thank you. Right, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Good evening, Mayor, councillors and the 4 others in the public gallery. The Bragg questions. A week or 2 ago, the wages of CEOs in Perth was published. Mr Christie, who's our CEO, came out second behind the City of Perth CEO in terms of these wages. His salary was listed as being $422,771 per annum. The Premier, in comparison, is paid $406,000. The Premier has 3 million people to look after, and our CEO has around 44,000 to look after, and senior ministers earn about 317,000. The City of Stirling, which is our largest local government with a population of 243,000, has a CEO with an annual salary of $385,332. I've raised concerns previously with how Belmont's being run, specifically in the area of governance, and I would not be surprised if there's more governance stuff that I bring up tonight. The CEO is responsible for governance, and I've been assured that the CEO is satisfied with this department. So my question, whilst I acknowledge that the tribunal sets a salary range to different figures for the different bands of CEO, I would like to know why our CEO thinks he's worth being paid the second highest amount in the state behind the City of Perth CEO, and getting 37,500 more than the City of Stirling CEO, who has 200,000 more people in his locality. What do you think makes you a standout for the people of Belmont?
I'll step in there. Actually, the council determines that.
Pardon?
The council determines that,
Determines
not the
what?
CEO.
Determines
But the
what?
CEO wishes to add something.
Thank you, Worship. As Ms Hollins has pointed out, while the council do have some discretion in the bands that sit within the salary range is actually set by the Salaries and Allowances Tribunal, which is overseen, obviously, through the state government. And that reflects the size and the complexity of the organisation. And that's all I have to add, Your Worship. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question.
At the agenda briefing last week, the CEO stated, "My key performance indicators set by myself." In July last year, the annual performance appraisal of the CEO was conducted. It appears that according to the terms of reference of the CEO's performance review panel, the panel is the council, and of course the council then votes for it as a confidential item. According to the terms of reference, the CEO attends the panel, and the CEO also has to approve any other staff that may be relevant to attend, as well as any other relevant person. The minutes from last July tell us nothing other than that Councillor Harris was the only one in attendance who voted against the appraisal. So my question, how can the public be assured that given the CEO sets his own KPIs, is in attendance when the review panel meets, and in essence controls who can attend, that a proper assessment can be made in terms of performance when the minutes give no information whatsoever on the assessment or what it's measured against?
Mr. Seer?
Thank you, Worship. I do not set my KPIs for this organisation. Those KPIs are set in accordance with the terms and reference and in conjunction with Council, and it is Council that actually set and endorse my key performance indicators. And the reality as well is that that is all discussed behind closed doors, Your Worship, and the matter is confidential. Thank you.
Well, I did hear you say that last week, Mr. Christie, that you set them.
Next question, please. Thank you.
Okay, the Local Government Amendment Act 2023, 539AA, publication of information relating to CO performance, reads, 1, a local government must publish the following in accordance with the regulations. A, the performance criteria specified in the CEO's contract of employment under section 5.393B. B, a copy of any statement under section 5.384 relating to the review of the CEO's performance, and C, a copy of any statement of the CEO under section 535 responding to a statement under section 5.384. So I assume there'll be another review coming up shortly, since it was July last year. So can we expect to get last July's and the upcoming review, and will it be published as minutes or on the website?
Mr. Seer?
Thank you, Worship. I'll take that question on notice.
Thank you. And my last one. Section 5.94 allows the public to inspect contracts and variations to contracts which are made under section 5.39, which of course is the CEO and senior staff contracts. Since it's been made available to the public, how do I get a copy of it? Is there a copy waiting at the front desk, or is it on the website, or how do I go about getting it?
Mr. Seer?
Thank you, Worship. As you know, all those discussions are dealt with in confidential and behind closed doors. But look, I will take the question on notice given the references to the Act that Ms Hollins has raised tonight. Thank you.
Yeah, that's actually about the publication of them and that we can have copies. Yep. So my personal questions. In tonight's agenda, there's some budget increases that will really impact residents, given many are in a state of financial crisis. These include sports field lighting from $3.50 to $56 per hour. That can be found on page 234. Oasis full membership for concession, which will affect seniors as well as other pensioners, from $875 to $900. And the one that will affect all ratepayers the most, in my opinion, is full service waste residential from $360 to $407, up $47. Which together with the increase of rates could put the total rates up $100 or more per year. Not to mention the additional recycling bin, 240 litres, has gone from $120.50 to $136. So how can council justify such heavy increases on residents when there's a financial crisis and we find out that our CEO is the second highest paid in the state, and councillors have had increases for themselves with the introduction of super, the extra $12,000 increase for professional development, and the money that's made available for defamation?
Mr. Seer?
Thank you, Worship. The points raised obviously reflect the actual true cost of delivering that service. For example, the waste service was currently subsidised for a number of years, and the costs that are in the budget actually reflects the true cost of that service to the residents. And the reality is, Council will consider this tonight, later during the meeting, and obviously they'll have an option to vote or ask further questions in relation to the items raised. Thank you, Worship.
Okay. The Local Government Amendment Act 2023, 5.96b reads, without limiting subsection 1, the matters that may be prescribed for the purposes of that subsection include the following: lease of land for which the local government is the lessor or leasee, B, grants of money made by the local government, C, contracts for goods or services entered into by the local government, and D, matters relating to a function of the local government under the Planning and Development Act. And point 5 on that says the CEO must publish a register updated from time to time on the local government's official website. So my question, where can we find this register on the website? And is it called Confidential Items Register, or what is it called?
First the CEO, then I'll go to Manager of Governance and Legal.
Thank you, Worship. Given again the references to the Act and unaware of the full extent and content of that section, I'll take that question on notice, Your Worship.
Manager of Governance and Legal wishes to speak.
Just to advise, a lot of the reforms have yet to come into effect, haven't been enacted. So we're still waiting on regulations from the department on those actual specific sections. So they have not actually been enacted or are in force at the moment. So, yeah, thanks.
Okay, question
Next
3.
question, go ahead.
Pardon? Oh. Previously, I've asked questions about the Oasis and discovered that the gym equipment was costing us around $100,000 per year. We now have a new operator, so are we paying for their gym equipment? And what are we, the ratepayer, paying for whilst residents face heavy increases in rates as well as increases in the use of Oasis?
Mr CEO.
Thank you, Worship. All of that would have been specified in the contract that was entered into, but I'll take that question on notice.
Thank you. And my last one. At the last meeting, I asked about the traffic on Durban Street and was advised that the traffic on Durban would be monitored both during and after the closure of Belvedere Street. It was also stated that the current traffic is expected to reduce following the completion of Belvedere Street in December. The expensive engineer's report on traffic in the Redcliffe area included another stage where work was to be done on Durban Street to help with traffic. Once Belvedere Street reopens in December, there is no reason to think that there will be a significant reduction in traffic on Durban, given that the new speed limits in Belvedere Street and the single shared traffic lane with bikes, etc. Belvedere will no longer be used as a through road for those in Redcliffe to go to access Belmont. Therefore, leaving a long-term problem for Durban Street. So my question, has the council done any traffic count given Belvedere has been closed for a couple of months? And has it been considered to bring forward the next stage of work recommended by the engineer to fix the traffic problems in Redcliffe?
Director of Infrastructure Services.
Yeah, through you, Mayor Rossi, we're actually carrying out a traffic survey this week on Durban. Further to that, we will be engaging the consultant to consider traffic modelling of potential solutions. I mean, traffic has gone up. We know that because of Belvedere Street. We would expect that it will go back down again. However, when we take the traffic counts at the moment, that's at the kind of max traffic we'd expect. There's also a petition to a community petition to amend the junction at Hardy, Durban and Frederick Street. And so we're doing some work on that. That'll be brought to council or city response in August. So we do intend carrying out traffic modelling of potential solutions to both the intersection and traffic management. And also we will have community engagement. We'll essentially carry out the same process we did for Stanton Road.
Thank you very much.
Just for clarification, we're not going to follow what the engineer already suggested in that previous report? There was different stages.
Allow that one. Director of Infrastructure Services.
Yeah, through you, Mayor Rossi, there's no particular recommendations in the Redcliffe report for traffic management solutions on Durban.
We'll move on to Debbie Ransom.
Debbie Ransom, Ascot. Good evening, Mayor, councillors, staff and members of the public. I've only got 2 questions. The City of Belmont's 26-27 budget lists total expenditure for the Chief Executive Officer as over $1.4 million, with the salary component accounting for $870,000. Can Council advise ratepayers how many staff are employed within the CEO's office and what roles are included in this allocation?
Mr. CEO.
Thank you. From the top of my head, I have a work health and safety area that reports directly to me. I have an internal auditor function that reports to me. There are 3 staff in work health and safety. There are 2 in the internal audit. There are also 2 staff in the executive services area that assist councillors and myself, my executive assistant and her executive officer. From memory, but I'm happy to take the question on notice and provide as much detail as required to respond to that question. Thank you.
Thank you. My last question is, does the CEO receive any form of performance bonus or incentive payment linked to the achievement of KPIs?
Mr. CEO.
Thank you, Your Worship. No, I don't.
Thank you.
We move to Mark Condoso for his personal questions first.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Martin Cardozo, Redcliffe. Good evening, Mayor, councillors, city officers and public gallery. The following questions relate to the practical operation of the city's public participation framework, including the ability of residents, applicants and community groups to meaningfully participate in council decision-making processes. Question 1. The Agenda Briefing Forum agenda for 16 June 2026 was released 1 day before the meeting and comprised approximately 291 pages. Agendas and attachments can on occasion exceed 1,000 pages. Given the city's expectation that written deputations and submissions be provided where possible, what minimum period does the city consider reasonable for residents to review agenda material and prepare written material before an agenda briefing forum?
Mr. CEO.
Thank you, Worship. I assume Mr. Cardozo is referring to the amended agenda that was sent out recently. My understanding is that 2 weeks ago, the actual agenda was circulated ahead of the agenda briefing forum.
To the public?
My understanding, yes, but I'll defer to the Director of Corporate and Governance who will be able to clarify.
Director of Corporate and Governance, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My understanding is it was released to the public on the Friday before the ABF on the Tuesday, and then we did issue an amended agenda on, I think, the Monday.
Next question, please.
That's fine, I didn't see it. Question 2. Does the city have any guideline, policy or operational expectation regarding the minimum time residents should have between publication of an agenda briefing forum agenda and the meeting itself to enable preparation of written deputations or submissions?
Mr. CEO.
As the Director of Corporate and Governance has stated, it generally is circulated to the public on the Friday prior to the agenda briefing forum, which gives 4 days to prepare any submissions or deputations that you may wish to make at the agenda briefing forum, Your Worship. Thank you.
Okay.
Next question, Martin.
Question 3. I am aware of a recent example where an applicant attended an ordinary council meeting expecting to address council on an agenda item, but was unaware of the opportunity to make a deputation or submission at the preceding agenda briefing forum. For matters proceeding to council for determination, what written information does the city provide to applicants, residents and community groups regarding their ability to make a deputation or submission, and can the relevant wording be provided?
Mr. CEO.
Thank you, Worship. I'm sure that is on our website, but look, I'll take that question on notice and I will clarify. Thank you, Worship.
Last question 4. How does the city ensure applicants, residents and community groups understand the distinction between participation opportunities available at agenda briefing forums and those available at subsequent ordinary council meetings.
Mr CEO?
Again, Your Worship, I would suspect that is readily available on the website, but again, I'll take that question on notice.
Thank you.
Questions on behalf of East Ward Connect?
Thank you. For at least the last 12 months, I have advocated for live streaming of agenda briefing forums through a variety of avenues, including policy reviews, community engagement discussions, and public participation processes. I regarded live streaming as the most transparent and cost-effective way of preserving community participation and elected member interaction at public meetings. Council has now considered that issue and reached a different view, and I accept that decision. However, a broader governance question remains. When the city opens its doors to the public, invites participation from residents, applicants and community groups, and a member of the community stands at this lectern to speak on a matter affecting the future of the city, should some identifiable public record of that contribution survive for the future reference. This is not about live stream viewing numbers or any particular technology. It is about institutional memory, public accountability, and the expectations Council sets regarding preservation of community participation so that future residents, future elected members, and future administration can understand what was said, not merely who said it and which suburb they came from. The following questions relate to preservation of verbal participation within the public record. Question 1. Has Council or administration ever considered implementing any mechanism for preserving the content of verbal deputations, submissions, or other verbal public participation? And if so, what was the outcome of that consideration?
Mr CEO?
Thank you, Worship. I'm not sure whether that has ever occurred, but the reality is, and as I've mentioned over the last 12 months where you've been raising this issue, the forum on submitting submissions and deputations clearly asks the person who wants to make that submission or deputation to write and clearly write their deputation.
Can you read
on
that sentence,
form.
Mr CEO, through the chair?
Sorry?
Can you read that sentence?
Read that sentence? I think I can. On a public submission time and deputation pro forma, it states, please write a brief overview of your submission, deputation as clearly and concisely as possible. Remember there are strict time limits applicable. The presiding member may limit presenters to a shorter period if time is restricted.
There's actually
But in reality, if you do submit your submission or deputation in writing and hand that in prior to this meeting, or should I say the agenda briefing forum, it will be captured as a public record and form part of the agenda briefing matrix. So there is an option for you to do that. Thank you, Worship.
But it's not compulsory.
Next question, please.
Question 2. Where implementation of a practice of publishing would implementation of a practice of publishing brief non-verbatim summaries of verbal deputations, submissions or other verbal participation require a council decision, or could it be implemented administratively under existing delegations?
CEO?
Thank you, Worship. Again, there is a process there for capturing that. If a submitter who wants to do a deputation or a submission provides that in writing, it will be captured in the record.
Can I repeat the question?
So
Through the chair, can I repeat the question?
I don't need you to repeat the question.
Sorry,
so whether
let
it would
the CEO
be
speak, please. Sorry, only one person will speak, so now the CEO will speak. Thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you, Worship. I think over the last 12 months, I don't know how many times I've attempted to answer very, very similar questions, and the response remains the same. There is no requirement under the Act for us to live stream agenda briefing forums.
I'm not talking about live streaming.
Excuse me,
Sorry.
or even hold agenda briefing forums. When submitters for deputations or submissions attend an agenda briefing forum, it is for the people on this side of that railing and for them to understand the matter before they make an informed decision the following week. So it's important that the councillors are the ones who hear the deputation prior to making an informed decision the following week. If you want that recorded and captured as a public record, there is a forum that can be filled in. And, Your Worship, I think I've answered this at least a dozen times over the last 12 council meetings, and I have nothing further to add, Your Worship.
Your third question,
That
please.
in no way answered that question for the record. Question 3. I understand that some Western Australian local governments, including the town of Victoria Park, have expressed expectations to administration regarding how community submissions are reproduced and reported. Has Belmont Council ever formally communicated expectations to administration regarding how verbal public participation should be preserved or reflected within the public record, and if so, what was that expectation?
Mr Sear.
Thank you, Worship. I can't comment on what the town of Victoria Park does, but in response to that question, I don't believe Council has. Thank you, Your Worship.
Last question, please.
Last question. Has administration received any legal, governance or records management advice indicating that publication of a brief non-verbatim summary of verbal public participation would be inappropriate or inconsistent with the city's obligations, and if so, what was the nature of that advice?
Mr Sear.
Thank you, Worship. I don't believe we have received any advice in relation to that matter.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Ms G.
Evening, Mayor, councillors and gallery. I'd like to ask, how much does it cost now for this Belmont Bulletin to be made up? And is it still distributed to everyone?
I'll go to the Director of Corporate and Governance.
I'm happy to take that question on notice because it's a very specific dollar item, and I'm happy to give Ms G a response.
Next question, if you have one.
It's all relating to this. How far in advance is this put together before it is sent out?
Director of Corporate and Governance.
My understanding it's approximately 2 months prior, which allows us to then try and capture most of the events that are going on in the city, and certainly we try and ensure that the bulletin is then distributed prior to major events.
Okay.
Next question.
The last few months I've received this. It's always been after most of the events have happened. I've picked this up in council tonight, and for once, only a few of the events in June, because it says June 2026, have already occurred. Most of them are then in July, so technically this should be June, July, if that's what you want to do. But I still have not received my copy, and we're nearly at the end of June. So any events, had I wished to attend them, like, you know, craft rugs and stuff like that, something I would have been interested in, but I'm sorry, it's gone. And I didn't know about it. So, you know, do we have to come to council to get a copy, or are we distributing it to the residents?
We are distributing because I got mine in a letterbox, I think Monday last week, and they are available luckily downstairs in the library, but you not getting one is a concern. We might need to follow that up. Director of Corporate and Governance.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Look, I'm certainly will take on board Ms G's comments because it is a concern if a prominent ratepayer doesn't receive her copy of the Belmont Bulletin. But of course, I know how frequently you probably look at our website. I'm sure most of those events are on our website anyway.
I wish I had time to look at another website at the moment, unfortunately, with my workload. But yes, because May, I actually got May's, I think it was about the last end of the month in May. So I've been receiving mine really late, and it's frustrating when there are events and things that, you know, some people like me are interested in. So thank you.
I'm sure the Director will look into it and see about the delivery in the area near Abernathy Road. Thank you. That will now move on. There being no more questions, I close public question time at 7:14 p.m. We move to 6.1, matrix for the agenda briefing forum of the 16th of June. Are there any questions on the matrix? No. I have a mover and second to receive the matrix. Moved by Councillor Sessions, seconded by Councillor Gurjitsky. Voting is now open. Please use the buttons on your microphone screen. Carried unanimously, remembering that there is 7 votes. We move to the ordinary council meeting held the 26th of May 2026. Are there any questions on the minutes? May I have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor Sakula, seconded by Councillor Sessions with second hand up. Voting is now open. Please use the buttons on your microphone screen. Carried unanimously. Questions by members on which due notice has been given? There are none. Questions by members without notice? Move to response to questions taken on notice? There are none. Questions by members without notice? Councillor Sessions.
Thanks, Mayor Rossi. I'm just thinking about the special council meeting. Are we supposed to be moving those minutes tonight as well?
Mr. Sear?
I might defer to the Director of Corporate and Governance on that matter.
Director of Corporate and Governance.
I'm happy to come back to Councillor Sessions. I thought that'd been circulated already, but I'm happy to come back to you.
Thank you. Any follow-up questions? No? Thank you. We'll move on to 9. Business adjourned from the previous meeting. There is none. 10. New business of an urgent nature approved by the presiding member or by decision. As presiding member, I have approved item 14.7, the tender 092025, provision of cleaning service to council facilities, to be added to the agenda as a confidential matter in accordance with section 5.23 4C of the Local Government Act 1995. I will move this item and ask for a seconder to consider this item of new business of an urgent nature under item 14.7 by a simple majority. Yes, go ahead. So I'll be moving it. Seconded by Councillor Sakula. Voting is now open. Please use the buttons on your microphone screen.
Just to clarify, Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
This is to include that item in tonight's meeting. Okay.
It's now appearing on the screen. Before was a delay. Councillor Ryan. Carry unanimously. Thank you. Thanks for your patience. There are none. Reports of administration. Withdrawn items. Are there any items withdrawn? We'll go through them. 12.1 is for myself, which Councillor Sessions will withdraw for me. 12.2, design local planning policy, design review panel. No. 12.3, Fauntleroy Avenue, Ascot. 12.4 is Councillor Harris, strategic community plan, corporate business plan and long-term financial plan. 12.5, adoption of the 2006-2007 annual budget, Councillor Sessions. 12.6, risk appetite statements. 12.7, appointment of deputy of the presiding member to the Audit and Risk and Improvement Committee. 12.8, accounts for payments for May. 12.9, monthly financial report for May. So at the moment we have 12.1, 12.4, 12.5 being withdrawn. Have I missed anything? Just in case I wasn't looking up. No. So may I have a moved and seconded to adopt the balance of the reports en bloc by an absolute majority decision, with the exception of items 12.1, 12.4, 12.5. Moved by Councillor Sakula, seconded by Councillor Harris. Voting is now open. Please use the button to your microphone screen. Councillor Wright? Done. Carry unanimously. Thank you. For those people present in the gallery, please note that those items that have not been withdrawn have now been adopted by Council. You are welcome to stay and observe the remainder of tonight's proceedings, or you may wish to leave when convenient. As outlined previously, please do not rely on any Council decision until formal notification has been received in writing. Thank you. We move to 12.1, Draft Local Planning Policy number 21, Tree Development Exemption and Assessment Policy. I'd like to advise that in accordance with section 5.232B of the Local Government Act of 1995, Council will need to go behind closed doors if there are any questions on the confidential attachments for item 12.1, Draft Local Planning Policy number 21, Tree Development Exemption and Assessment Policy. Are there any questions on the confidential attachments? No? Then we move to a mover and a seconder for we go back to the ordinary 12.1. So we have a mover, moved by Councillor Sessions, seconded by Councillor Marx. Over to you, Councillor Sessions.
Thanks, Mayor Rossi. So this is to move your alternative motion, isn't it?
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
Do you wish to speak on it?
Do you want me to read out what you've added?
It has been sent out, but
Okay.
please just give anybody who has forgotten it or has been rushing to read it can have a look through it again. With the reasons at the bottom. Over to you, Councillor Sessions.
Thanks, Mayor Rossi. So this policy has already been advertised, and postponing the implementation further may increase the risk of trees being removed unnecessarily. Education is a great idea, but I don't think it should delay the publication and adoption of Local Planning Policy 21. So whilst I do respect your reasons for amending this, I don't support it at this time.
Thank you, Councillor Marx.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Look, I can see reasons why you've put this forward, and I agree with a lot of them. There's no reason why we can't take our time over this. I'm a little bit surprised at what's just been said about people taking advantage of the situation, but I agree with what you've got there, Mr. Mayor.
Another person's for or against? I'll take any. Councillor Kuchit.
Thank you, Mayor Rossi. Thank you for putting forward this alternative motion for us to consider. It doesn't detract from the substance of the policy that's been put together through a careful, considered and methodological construction of the policy. However, I don't think there's an acceptable reason to delay notification of the policy until the 4th of August this year. We have already gone through a prudent process to set this policy in motion. This policy has been out for the public to consider for almost 7 months. This was brought to us in December last year. It's been published in at least one newspaper article in that time, advertised on the city's website, also advertised on Belmont Connect, and it's been discussed on social media. So essentially, how much more time does the community need to consider this? 100% of the respondents that provided their input to the policy when it was advertised were supportive in principle of it. And neither the state nor federal government usually go through such a educating period when they introduce legislation. So in summary, I do not think that it's necessary, and the delay poses a reputational risk for the city.
Anyone else wish to speak for or against? Councillor Skula.
Thank you, Your Worship. I understand the comments and the statements that have been made so far, both and like on both sides, I do believe your motion is wise and considered and measured. I think your focus on bringing the community along on this journey, which is a controversial one in some sections, I think is wise, and I think it doesn't detract from the direction that the city is going. So thank you for putting the amendment up, Your Worship.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to speak for or against before I speak? Then I'll speak before I go back to the mover. The reasoning behind this alternative motion is that it would allow the city to use this period for community notification and education before the policy formally takes effect. It also means that those who've made submissions can be advised of Council's decision immediately. Education and awareness are the key. The 6-week period will give the city an opportunity to inform residents about the new requirements. While we cannot reach every resident, we can make every effort to raise awareness across the community, provide clear and accessible information, and encourage people to familiarise themselves with the changes before the policy takes effect. This policy also provides a clear basis for assessment and the conditions that may apply where approval is required. While some have called for a stronger and more prescriptive approach, that's unlikely to be practical. This alternative motion achieves what Council's aiming for and more. It takes the residents on the journey. I see no reputational risk. It shows we actually care. Thank you. I'll go back to the mover.
Thanks, Mayor Rossi. I just want to reiterate there that community education is a great idea, and I'm fully on board with that. I think we should always do that and do more and more of it. However, I don't think we need to delay this policy anymore.
Thank you. Voting is now open. Please use the buttons on your microphone screen. We still need a few more votes. Councillor Kulczycki. It is carried 4 votes to 3. Move to (12.4). Over to Councillor Harris, please, as the mover.
Thank you, Mayor Rossi.
A seconder for you, Councillor Sessions. We'll just give everyone a minute to read through. There's quite a bit there to read. If you've not familiarised yourself with it or you've forgotten it, we'll just go slowly working it up so we can see the reasons below it. Thank you. Stop there, just to give you a chance. Point 3 and 4 stays the same. And the reasons underneath. We'll move to the mover. Over to you. Caller, yes?
Yes, sorry, Your Worship. Would it be possible to move a procedural motion and to refer this back to an information forum?
I just need to find out if there's an impact on the business plan and the long-term financial plan.
Sorry, the reason that I'm asking this, sir, is because it's quite a complicated addition to what is already there, and I'm just looking at whether there's the flexibility to do that, Your Worship.
Go back to the CEO.
Thank you, Worship. I might defer to either the Director of Corporate and Governance or the Manager of Legal and Governance with regard to any time-critical timelines with regard to the adoption of the Strategic Community Plan, Corporate Business Plan, or the Long-Term Financial Plan. Thank you, Your Worship.
Director of Corporate and Governance.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. The three documents are review documents only, mid-year or mid-term reviews. That's the Strategic Community Plan, the Corporate Business Plan, and the Long-Term Financial Plan. There is no specific time criteria. We'd like to get it adopted before the end of the financial year, of course, but I don't believe it would hurt to defer a month if that's the case. Mr Mayor.
Manager of Governance Legal, what do you feel?
We do need to review our CBP annually, but we could move we'd have to put this to an IF. That would be sooner rather than later.
So you've heard from them, Councillor Sakula. Do you still wish to move procedural motion?
I would like to, and this is not to take away from what the council is putting forward, but to give it due justice and clarity, I'd like to move forward.
I'll just go the this has got his hand up.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Given the complexity of the proposal raised by Councillor Harris in his alternative motion, and it only came in late last night, my suggestion is that Councillor Harris withdraws his alternative motion, that framework that he's proposed goes to an IF for consideration by elected members, and that the substantive motion or the officer's recommendation is actually tabled. And that way Councillor Harris actually can present his ideas to an IF of his colleagues. And given that the framework that is proposed on my reading is about 27 pages, plus all the attachments and addendums, I think it would certainly give Council a more or better opportunity to consider what Councillor Harris is proposing going forward, rather than holding up the adoption of the three reports which my colleague to my right reminds me we should have by the 30th of June. So yes, I would recommend that way, and that way Councillor Harris can actually detail his proposal to his colleagues at an IF.
Okay, there's two options there for you, because that's not actually what Councillor Harris, I think, wants to do. So, Councillor Harris, before I move to Councillor Sakula, I really need to know what you wish to do. Wish to proceed? Can I just ask? Mr. CEO?
Thank you. Can I just call the short request a small adjournment so I can discuss some of the finer complexities with what's being proposed at the moment in accordance with the standing orders, Your Worship.
Right, we'll do a short adjournment. Right, gentlemen and ladies, we need to do a quick vote before we just stop the meeting. Everyone's so eager. The voting button's on the screen. If you wish to have adjournment, need a mover. Moved by Councillor Sakula, seconded by Councillor Sessions. Please vote using these buttons on your screen.
So, I want to draw to your attention. Five minutes at most. So, I need to draw to your attention.
nature calls. So now we're ready to go. I need to go to Councillor Sakula. A procedural motion. So you're moving your procedural motion.
Yes, I'd like to move the.
Okay,
Sorry, if I could just say, I want to take on board what the director said to endorse the current, in officer's recommendation. If that's what I understood, is that correct? No.
I'll go to the CEO. Clarification before we move.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just to confirm, when a procedural motion is moved, all debate stops.
Right.
And we need to deal with the procedural motion.
Sure, yeah.
I note that you have not yet got a seconder for your procedural motion. However, I would stress that contained within the business papers, there is a requirement for the corporate business plan to be endorsed prior to the 30th of June, not the community plan or the long-term financial plan, but the item is critical when it comes to the review of the corporate business plan. Thank you, Worship.
I will need a seconder if you wish to proceed. Councillor Marx, you'll second it. Go ahead. You've got the floor.
So I'd like to move a procedural motion to refer the matter back to an information forum.
Thank you. We'll need to do a vote. Please use the buttons on your screen. It is passed. 4 votes to 3. Procedural motion has been passed. Thank you. We'll now move to 12.5. The adoption of the 2026-2027 annual budget. Sessions.
Thanks, Mayor Rossi. Was there a seconder?
Need a seconder. Councillor Marx, Councillor Marx first, got in.
Thank you.
Sorry, Your Worship. Can I declare an interest?
May.
Thank you. A declaration of interest for item 12.5 of impartiality.
Use a microphone. Sorry, I can't hear a word you're saying.
Sorry, I thought it was on. I raise a disclosure of interest for item 12.5, the annual budget. The interest is impartiality. I am a member of the Belmont RSL and also of the Ruth Faulkner Library as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Back to Councillor Sessions.
Thanks, Mayor Rossi. I wanted to take a quick opportunity to ask if I'm allowed to question the decision of 12.4, or is that gone? We can't do any further questions now.
Sorry, what was that?
I just want to question the corporate business plan has to be passed by the 30th of June.
No, we've moved on. We're now in.
Okay, that's what my question
We're now
was. Can we?
12.5. I'm sorry.
Okay. All right. So this is about your alternative motion. If we can get, there it is. Okay. So I fully support this, and for 2 main reasons. 1, skin cancer is the most common cancer in WA, and 2, Australia has the highest rate of skin cancer in the world. So my preference for this would be mature trees for many environmental reasons, but where that's not viable, I think shade sales are a must.
Thank you. The seconder wish to speak?
Only just quickly to say that I agree with what's just been said. The important thing is that I think this is something that we're doing at the moment, but it hasn't been written down properly, and you've made the effort to write it down so that we know exactly what's going on. So I think it's a must. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Kulczycki.
Thank you, Mayor Rossi. I think this is a sensible addition that benefits the broader community. However, I would suggest that the mature tree option would be preferential over shade sales, being a treatment type that is more consistent with the policies and strategies endorsed by Council. Shade sails are a plastic product. They release microplastics into the environment and at the end of life require disposal. Given the intent is to improve health outcomes, it would be most likely not a suitable outcome if we were to consider such products. When we did see some modelling, we did see that advanced trees have a similar financial cost compared with shade sails, that they themselves have a limited lifespan. I look forward to what the Parks Department will propose and bring forward to us in October. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to speak for or against? Councillor Harris.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As the mover of the alternative motion, must ask if you would consider incorporating my alternative regarding the bike lane removal on Wright Street into this motion.
I have read it and I don't believe it's suitable. Thank you.
Thank you. So regarding the alternative in front of us, I do think that the Mayor's alternative regarding shade trees in playgrounds, particularly the mature trees, is a good one, and I think it does improve the budget. But unfortunately, I have concerns, and my attempted alternative relate to another project in the budget, that regarding the change from on-street bike lanes to footpath transport near Notre Dame Primary School, which is just 50 metres from that school. And because of that project, I don't think I can support the budget overall. So that project involves the removal, I beg pardon, that project involves the removal of the on-street cycle lanes between Daly Street and Hardy Road, which is just 50 metres from that primary school, which has not been notified or consulted in the planning of that change. I do want to place the project in context. In our current relevant strategy, Belmont on the Move, Council said that we would finalise the long-term cycle network and use that as the basis of our investment in the coming years. The long-term cycle network was approved in 2020, but the infrastructure investment didn't happen. We have not progressed a cycle route since 2018. Now in 2026, our budget does still not include a cycle route, and now it includes the removal of 400 metres of cycle lane, 50 metres from a primary school, and without the consultation or, to my understanding, the knowledge of the school, which to me is highly worrying. It's one thing to not build the cycling infrastructure, but it is another to spend public funds removing cycle lanes 50 metres from a school and shifting bike traffic onto a footpath where it is more exposed to cars coming rapidly out of driveways. My concern over our infrastructure priorities and lack of investment here means that I can't endorse the budget as presented. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Anybody wish to speak for or against? Councillor Sikora.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'd like to take the opportunity to congratulate the council officers involved in preparing the budget. I think that they've shown their financial acumen again. I think the budget shows evidence of being reflective, inclusive, strategic, and also measured. I believe that the budget is a budget for our time, a time that is very uncertain, and that it focuses very much on the core business of our city, and that is our residents and the ratepayers. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to speak for or against? Then I'll speak very briefly. I just want to first address some issues that were just raised about the cycle path. And please, I'll ask the Director of Infrastructure Service to please interrupt me if I say anything that's not correct, because I'm trying to get my head around it since I saw the motion today. First of all, I acknowledge your passion for cycleways, and I think something that we need to work on in the future. I get that. But this is supported by Main Roads. This is not council coming along and saying, let's just move it. This is supported by Main Roads. We were given funding granted for it. The cycleway is being amended. It's still there, but it goes onto the footpath, and the footpath, again, please stop me if I'm wrong, will be widened. So there will be space for the walkers and the dogs, etc., and the cyclists. Again, if I'm wrong, please stop me. And so for me, we're talking about children up to 11 years old. In that narrow of Wright Street to that area, yes, there will be issues maybe with driveways, but I still feel it'll be a little bit safer. I've really thought about this week, this afternoon, since I was raised with me, and I went down there, drove past, then had a quick look before I came here. And if that's widened, it'll be much safer for the children. Remembering the entrance to the school as at the other end. I can't remember the other side street there is there, towards the end of, that collides with Daly Street. It's not down Wright Street. But I don't take that away from you. I acknowledge your passion, and I hope we can all get on board with it in the coming years as we address cycleways. But this one here, I think, is the right way to go. Going back to my motion on playground shade, I've deliberately drafted in a flexible and financially responsible way. Any implementation this year would only occur if funding can be identified, with each site assessed on its own merits. The most appropriate solution would be selected for each location, taking into account existing shade, seasonal conditions, playground design, and other on-site specific factors. This is not about applying one-size-fits-all approach or automatically installing shade sails at every playground. I agree, trees would be more beneficial. In some locations, existing shade may already provide adequate coverage for users. In others, the planting of advanced trees may be a better long-term option, delivering both shade and environmental benefits. The simple reality is that children are particularly vulnerable to the effects of ultraviolet rays, and sun exposure can occur even during morning periods or after school when many playgrounds are used. Even on overcast days, children can be burnt. Providing appropriate shade helps create a safer environment for children, parents, and their carers. Considering shade as part of the initial design and upgrade process also helps ensure our playgrounds remain usable, accessible, and welcoming throughout the year. By referring the matter to the October budget review, Council will have the opportunity to fully assess costs, determine the most suitable approach for individual sites, and ensure that any investment is made in a measured and financially responsible way. And I hope the Council will support the motion. Going back to the general budget as such, I just want to raise that councils that in the past that have gone for below CPI or no CPI rate increase, they always, and Councillor Marx has taught me this years ago, he put this on to me, watch carefully, they'll always do catch up. And they always hit with large increases. And it's true. We could go remarkably low and then we'll end up, maybe I might not be around, but a council in the future will be having to do catch up. We've got to go at CPI or near because the costs are going up so high. We've got issues in the Middle East that are causing supplies issues. I could go on and on and on. It's all documented. It's happening to every local government out there. I would like to go lower, but the reality is we've got to go at CPI or near CPI, and that's what we're doing. It's the responsible thing to do by our ratepayers. And there's also some really good things in there, which I don't want to detract. We're putting $150,000 in subsidies being made available to help residents improve safety within their properties. While the finer details are still being finalised, this commitment reflects Council listening closely to what we've heard from our community and acting on it. We're putting more funding towards areas where residents have clearly told us support is needed. We're trying to give practical help. Along with our closed-circuit TV network, security patrols, educational initiatives, demonstrates our commitment to doing everything within our role of local government to support and empower residents to be safe, while remembering that policing remains the responsibility of WA Police. Thank you. Go back to the mover.
Thanks, Mayor Rossi. You know, I had lots of notes, but I think you covered that so well that I've got nothing to add now. Just that I'd like to see all the councillors support this. Thank you.
Voting is now open on the screen. Please use the buttons on your screen. Carried 6 votes to 1. Thank you. We move to 13.1. Reports by the Chief Executive Officer. Requests for leave of absence. Are there any requests for leave of absence, Mr. CEO? There are none. Notice of motion. There are none. Matters of which the meeting may be closed. I will now close the meeting in accordance with section 5.234C of the Local Government Act of 1985. I have a mover and seconder. Moved by Councillor Sessions, seconded by Councillor Harris. Voting is now open. Please use the buttons on your microphone screen. I'm still missing one vote. Councillor Ryan, sorry, must be the button. Carry unanimously, thank you. Would the IT officer please pause the live stream? Would those in the public gallery please depart the chamber? I invite the public back into the meeting. And now go further each item. 14.1, tender, provision of youth services. That council accepts the officer recommendation in relation to this item. Move Councillor Sessions, seconded Councillor Sekula. It's carried 6 votes to 1. Against, Councillor Sessions. 14.2, tender, supply of street sweeping services. That council accepts the officer recommendation in relation to this item. Move Councillor Sekula, second Councillor Harris. Carried 7 votes to 0. Unanimous vote. 14.3, tender, Peak Park Sports Lighting Upgrade. That council accepts the officer recommendation in relation to this item. Move Councillor Sekula, second Councillor Harris. Carried 7 votes to 0. Carried unanimously. 14.4, tender, provisions of preventative maintenance and servicing for major mechanical plant at the City of Belmont Civic Centre, Belmont Hub, Glasshouse and Belmont Oasis Leisure Centre. That council accepts the officer recommendation in relation to this item. Move Councillor Sekula, second Councillor Harris. Carried 7 votes to 0, unanimous vote. 14.5, councillor accepts the officer recommendation for the removal of graffiti and maintenance of infrastructure. Removal of graffiti and maintenance of infrastructure, my apologies. Moved by Councillor Sekula, seconded by Councillor Harris. The vote is carried 7 votes to 0. 14.6, quotation, supply, installation and leasing of parking sensors in Faulkner Civic Precinct. That council accepts the officer recommendation in relation to this item. Moved Councillor Sekula, seconded Councillor Harris. Carried 7 votes to 0. Unanimous vote. 14.7, tender, provision of cleaning services to council facilities. That council accepts the officer recommendation in relation to this item. Moved Councillor Harris, seconded Councillor Sekula. Carried 7 votes to 0. Unanimous vote. Closure. There being no further business to conduct, I close the meeting and thank all those in attendance and close it at 9:28 p.m. A reminder to all elected members to place and return all confidential documents to the box in the foyer of the council's entrance here at the Civic Centre. Thank you.